this thing.
That's
Just
all
to
right.
get rid
I'll
of these
just-
two rough edges.
Well, here.
Okay, so
Since I can't talk right now, I'm not allowed.
now I'm swearing you all to secrecy. Mom has known about this for about a month. But if you have any thought that you cannot keep this a secret, please tell me now, because I can keep you in the dark a little bit if I need to. But
You mean not tell anything to Steffi?
That's right.
We can keep our mouths shut.
because I know you're all going to be
I can't.
hanging
Or
me out
anybody.
today.
Not just that.
Yeah, because
Well,
if we
this
tell
is
somebody else, then they may tell
Steffi
Steffi.
Steffi is the person that Steffi's going crazy wanting to know what I'm doing. Okay, so when we all get here on Christmas Day, I'm going to show a video, that special video that I made for Steffi. I have interviewed let's see, her former boss at work, Deborah. Let's see, Rivka, who's one of her best friends. Bob and Dan did Clara on Sunday, and they're going to do themselves before this project is complete. I'm going to talk to Liddy Saturday after I get off work. The only people that I haven't been able to contact are Rhea, who I think may be here, but if she's here, that's fine too. I went to Missouri and I did a 15-minute interview with Jerry for this video project.
You drove all the way up
Oh
here.
my God.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Here.
And
Thank you for doing that.
and with you guys, and let's see, is there anybody else? Oh, and I interviewed her pastor, Reverend Joanna Fontaine Crawford. So that should probably be enough to get. Oh, and Santa Claus. Santa Claus is in here somewhere
Yes.
too. So on Christmas Day, I'm proposing to Steffi. That here in front of everybody. I've got the ring and everything. So this is kind of this is kind of misdirection, because the what it's going to seem like is just another one of those videos that I've made before, about Steffi, and just a little bit more special. But the whole premise of the video is that I'm on a trip. Don't know why I'm on a trip. While I'm on this trip, I'm asking myself questions about Steffi and about marriage and about different things. And then when I get to Missouri and there's the big reveal about why I went there, I'm talking to Jerry about his relationship with Stephanie and how a lot of what he said was, that he'd like to have a better relationship with Stephanie, and he really would like to see her happy. And I asked him formally if, for permission to marry Steffi. And then on the way back, there are a few more little pieces of interviews from different people talking about different things. And then, so that won't, it'll just seem like it's a nice romantic, kind of, journey and interviews and things, and a nice little piece of family history. But then, towards the end of the video, I'm going to say something to the effect of, I still haven't answered the one question is, when do I propose to Stephanie? Maybe I ought to ask an expert. And so I went down to Barton Creek Square and I recorded a little set piece with Santa Claus when Santa kind of pulls the ring box out of his little bag and says, "Well, young man, I know a thing or two about gifts," or something. I forget what he says now. And then he hands me the ring and starts whispering in my ear. So that's when she will know for certain what is happening and what's going to be going on. So that's the project. I've also had, Sarah has recorded a little piece congratulating Steffi on getting married. Danielle has promised to do the same thing. I've got several more irons in the fire trying to try and tie all of this together, but it's basically friends and family and a whole bunch of stuff like that. So, what I'm going to ask you guys basically dovetails with the questions that I'm asking myself while I'm on this road trip. wanted to leave it to the last minute because you guys spend more time with Stephanie than anybody else. So I'm kind of like, okay, you're sworn to secrecy for the next 10 days. No, just no dropping hints, nothing. Just kind of leave it, as much as you can to silence, radio silence, as we like to say in my profession.
Well, she's the one with the most effort to do that because I don't normally get on the phone.
Well,
and
she's
chat
been
and
good.
stuff.
She-
Oh, I
Barbara's
won't
done
tell
well.
her
I was
nothing.
trying to get it out of her, but she never
I won't
budged.
tell
But I
nothing.
already had kind of I just had a
Gut
feeling.
feeling.
Same thing
I-
that happened with Sarah before she got engaged.
I think, the natural thing is we
Yeah.
figured that you probably were looking at getting engaged,
Right.
I
But
mean.
I wanted to do something special.
I love your
Yeah.
I love what you
So,
did. I think it's amazing.
I was gonna sing her a song, and then the thing about that was, I couldn't force myself to sit at a piano or to learn how to strum a guitar because it's just not who I am. It's not what I do. But this is what I do. So that seemed a lot more realistic to do something like this. Okay, so I got a couple of things here that I'll explain a little bit. So I'm going to start the video now, and all right, we are rolling. So every time that I ask a question, why don't we just go from Collette over to Karen, and I'll just move the camera around as I'm asking these questions. So it's hardly candid. It's, where the camera is, Collette, so it can't be candid camera. So I get to skip this first question because it's only for people who aren't family. But when you think about Steffi, one of the questions that I've been asking people, and one of the questions that I was asking during the trip that I was taking up here is, I wonder how people see her. How they view her, what they think of her as, when they think of her, what makes her special. So I guess that is my first question, which is, what do you think makes Steffi special?
I think what makes Steffi special is she has the most kindest heart of anybody in my whole entire life. Probably as close to my mom, but she's always thinks about everybody else and wants everybody else to be happy.
Mom?
Me?
Yes.
I think the same thing. She's a kind-hearted person who'd do anything for those she loves, even for those that she doesn't love. She'll try to help them. It's just her way. She's just that way.
Now you guys are making me want to cry, and I don't want to cry. Steffi is so kind-hearted. She really wants to promote understanding among people who don't understand diversity, and they need to learn to accept diversity in this world because, the more you travel and the more people you meet, the more you realize that most humans in this world are just good people, and we all just want to have love, acceptance, and a happy life with somebody who we can share the things that we enjoy. And it just makes us very happy that she's found you, because she's found that with you.
So, that's okay. It's fine.
It's hard not to cry when y'all
Well,
what's going on
hopefully
with
this
her
is a
too.
little bit happier.
It is happy.
I'm happy.
That's the thing. It really
I'm
is.
probably way. I cry when I'm happy nowadays.
Okay.
too.
So,
Well, that's all right.
now, obviously, getting engaged is a big deal. And one of the questions that I've been asking people is, what do you remember about when you got engaged? What do you remember about your engagement? Was it funny? Was it surprising? Was it awful? What do you remember about the day that you got engaged?
Well, I never really had an engagement.
Oh, no.
No. It was more or less, we were going to get married and we got married. We lived together for a couple of years, so nothing really special. But of course, getting married is special. I love my husband. We've been together a long time. But it would have been nice to have something like this where you just feel really, really special. So I appreciate it.
Mom, I know you know, you're like me. You've had at least 2 different shots or
Yeah.
bites at this apple. So what do you remember about either or?
Well, I've had actually 3 bites of the apple, because I
Okay.
bit the second apple twice.
It was
once.
worth biting again, that's good.
There he was. I married him, divorced him, we had issues. 5 years later, I took him back along with Mikey. But our first marriage was, I was happy with, who's that? I was happy with him asking me to marry him. We'd been dating for a good while, or seeing each other, living with each other for a good while, and then he got to go to Hawaii and enjoy a time with his uncle, and then we got married, and I didn't get to go to Hawaii. So that was number 1. Then the second marriage, we got back together, we're seeing each other, and he asked me to marry him again, and we did, and then retired. So that was a good one. I love being engaged. I like being married. So, but no more.
Okay.
Karen, you're in there.
I'm turning my phone off.
So you actually were engaged?
Hmm?
You actually had a formal
Okay.
engagement?
Well,
Hold on one second.
No.
Turn the camera your way. There we go.
I was thinking of it.
okay, well, when I met Paul, I had been dating somebody for 6 years that basically I just thought I was crazy about, and he was gonna be the one, but you know, he was not into commitment. And then I met Paul, and he was the most positive, optimistic, fun person to be around. And I very quickly decided that who needs somebody that doesn't want any commitment, when I found somebody that was really fun that I knew I could enjoy life with. And I basically moved in with Paul. At first it wasn't intended to be a move-in situation. I just, you know, went over there and just never left. And then finally he said, well, you might as well give up your apartment and move in here with me. And he says, if we're still together in a year, we'll get married. And if not, I'll give you time to find another place. Well, it was January 31st we moved in together, and that was March that he told me that. And it didn't take us that long, because it was only a couple weeks later we went off to a store that used to be on Anderson Lane and bought the ring. And he was trying to be all romantic and wait and get the ring when I wasn't there with him, but I was being myself and said, this is the one I want and we need to get it, and so we did. And then he took me across the street where Steak and Ale used to be, and we had dinner, and he gave me the ring, and we got married on June 26th. So from January 31st, when we first got together, to June 26th was a very quick and happy romance, and the fun is continued, and it will be 34 years this June, and it's one of the best choices I've ever made in my life.
Good. Good. So that leads me into my next question, which is, I've got 2 questions, and I want you to try and separate them, because one is going to appear kind of, I want you to kind of give Steffi a congratulatory message about getting engaged, which is going to appear in a montage. But what I want to separate that from what I'm about to ask you now, which is, if you had to give someone advice as to how to have a long and happy marriage, what advice would you give them to, you know, as they get set to, you know, set out on being married? You know, it's just, you know, just taking your own experience. What makes for a good marriage?
I would say be kind to one another, and remember why you came together and what was it about that person that you fell in love with. And when you made may get upset, you need to bring yourself back to that and what brought you together, and always remember to take care of each other, whether times are bad or good. And don't take each other for granted.
I think part of it is a lot of times you pick a mate for qualities that they have, and you do have to remember those qualities. Sometimes a person will be very dependable, do everything you need him to do, then all of a sudden you think, I want somebody who's more willing to run and go and play with me and stuff. But remember, what you really needed was somebody who grounded you. Maybe you're a little bit more flighty, kind of like a nooper. You're kind of flighty. So that, and always be kind, and don't get upset over the little things. They don't amount to a hill of beans, whether they're, you know, no matter what it is. Consider that you have a lifetime mate that's going to be there with you, taking care of personal things, financial things, just loving you, caring for you in your illnesses. Just look at the big picture. Don't sweat the small stuff.
Well, one thing I have to say, there's a flip side to all those wonderful traits that you love about that person that you picked. My husband was the most optimistic human, and my dad was the most negative human, and that had a lot to do with why I was attracted to Polly. And then when he thinks that some kind of deal sounds like a good deal, and I'm thinking, ha! You know, you can't really talk him out of it. You know, he's going to do.
Hang on a second, I've got an issue with my phone. Stop.
You're such a you're good at this. I love it. You're making me laugh.
I've had this happen occasionally. It just kind of stops working. So I may have to restart it.
This is great.
But it is true though, isn't it? It's
Oh,
like
God,
all
yes.
those things that, like, you know, with Bugs, it was the stability and the knowing where he'd be because he's such a creature of habit. And now I'm like, can you just be a little spontaneous? And I'm thinking, what did I marry him for? He's not spontaneous. I am.
It was the same way with me and Mike. It
It's
was
so
the same
true.
way with me and Mike. And I
I
always had
wanted
to
the
remind
total
myself.
opposite of Dad. It
Yeah,
was like,
you wanted
Bugs
somebody
was
you
like
could
the
be
total
safe
opposite
with.
of Dad.
Somebody who made you safe, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that might not be good.
Oh.
My phone just completely froze,
No.
and before I could save any of this video. And,
Oh.
I may have to start over, which would
That's
probably be
right.
better because maybe I won't be crying.
That
all
was
the
good
time.
because
I think we should start with Karen though, because she makes me happier. I don't want to start bawling.
I usually have a tendency to be on the upbeat side. And not to say
Well,
that,
I
you know,
usually do too,
emotional
but-
because it
You
is a
wanna
happy
use mine?
occasion, and I'm like
Huh?
you, I do
No,
sometimes
no.
cry at happy occasions too.
I cry at commercials nowadays.
Oh God.
Yes, I'm going through that wonderful part of
Let me
menopause.
see what it did.
Okay, honey.
But yeah, if you need to use one of our phones too, that's fine.
Well, I have the iPad back there recording too, so
Yeah.
I'll have some of it, but the only thing that I'm worried about is, it's saying that there's, I should have put a new SD card in here before the problem with phones a lot of times, and I forget about this before I get started recording, is they're trying to do 8 things at once, and it just kind of, it gets confused sometimes. You need to take it off the internet altogether so it won't, be taking in text messages.
Oh, because it keeps wanting to work while you're trying to
Do
do
the
one
other
thing.
work.
Yeah, it's like, leave me alone.
Good boy groove.
If we have to start over, maybe I won't look so too dead.
You look
You look fine.
You're
I'm so
fine.
happy for my
I don't
sister.
want to lose.
There's nothing wrong with emotions showing.
No.
You know,
tell me that all the time.
I know.
Cry, Mom.
I
Remember?
know.
Cry, Mom. Go ahead and cry. You need to cry.
We've held it in so
I know.
friggin' many years.
I know.
I have hardly cried.
Boy.
Do you remember like going through a phase where you wish you would cry and then you didn't cry?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
It's like, man, I wish I would just cry.
Cry.
And it just wasn't coming out. And it's like, damn.
Now never been able to hold emotions in check.
I was holding
ever.
emotions so
You know, I don't
many
get these
years.
people that can go to a funeral and have a dry eye.
Oh,
It's like, how do you do it?
That's
I
a
can't
hard
do
one.
it. Because if
No, not
nothing
in a
else, I'm
funeral.
gonna think about, even if I'm not that close to that person, I'm thinking about all
All the
these
other
people
people.
that are so close
Yeah.
to them and what they're going